A frantic deer burst onto a man's front porch and refused to leave, stomping, pressing her body against him, demanding something he couldn't understand. She wasn't attacking. She wasn't lost. This wild animal had chosen him, and what she needed him to see would shatter his heart completely. It started like any ordinary afternoon. The man had been inside his home, going about his day, when the sound of hooves on the front steps pulled him toward the door. He opened it, and standing there just feet away was a doe, a fully grown white-tailed deer, right there on his porch, staring at him with wide, desperate eyes. Most people would have stepped back in shock. He did too, but before he could even process what he was seeing, the deer moved toward him, not away, toward him. She pressed the side of her face against his legs, nudging him, pawing at the ground, then looking back over her shoulder, and then back at him again. He didn't understand. How could he? His first instinct was the one most people would have. He pushed her away, gently at first, then more firmly. She was a wild animal after all, and she was acting strangely. He waved his hands, stepped forward, tried to shoo her off the porch. She didn't budge. She came back. Again and again she pressed herself against him, her hooves tapping on the wooden floor in a kind of frantic rhythm. Every time he pushed her away, she returned, more urgently than before. Her eyes were enormous and glistening. Her breathing was fast and shallow. Something about her movements had a quality that went beyond animal instinct. She wasn't grazing. She wasn't wandering. She was pleading. Still, the man couldn't read it. What he saw looked like aggression. A wild animal invading his space, refusing to back down. So he pushed harder. The doe stomped the ground. She raised her front legs and brought them down with force, a sharp crack against the porch. The man panicked, misreading the gesture entirely. He thought she was about to charge. Heart pounding, he backed through the door and shut it behind him, pressing himself against the wall inside and catching his breath. She'll leave, he thought. Give her a few minutes and she'll be gone. But 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 30. He peeked through the window, and there she was, still standing on the porch, still watching the door. Her head was lowered, her gaze fixed on the house with an expression that was almost unbearable to look at. There was no aggression in those eyes now, no wildness, only something raw and desperate that cut right through the glass. That was when his father walked over. The older man had been watching from inside, and unlike his son, something about the deer's behavior struck him differently. Years of life, of paying attention to the world, of learning to read what words cannot say, made him pause and look more carefully. The doe wasn't threatening. She wasn't confused. She was trying to communicate. He pulled on his shoes and stepped outside. The moment he appeared, the doe turned. She looked at him, directly, deliberately, and then she walked, not away from the house, around it, and she stopped. She looked back at him again. The old man followed. She led him around the side of the house, past the garden toward the back, and there she stopped again, turning to face him with those desperate, luminous eyes. He moved closer, peering into the shadows near a large iron gate that ran along the back of the property. Then he heard it, a thin, trembling cry, small and helpless and terrified. He stepped forward, and there it was, a fawn, tiny and trembling, its fragile legs twisted at an impossible angle, its spotted body wedged deep into the iron bars of the gate. It had tried to squeeze through and become hopelessly trapped. The more it had struggled, the worse it had become. The iron had scraped and torn at its soft skin, leaving raw, painful marks along its sides. The little creature was exhausted from crying and from fighting, and it had no strength left. The old man stood completely still for a moment. The mother deer moved beside him, and she was quiet now. That frantic, desperate energy had transformed into something else entirely. She stood close to the old man's side, watching him, trusting him, as if she had done everything within her power to bring a human to this moment. And now she was placing her most precious thing, her child, in his hands. He moved slowly. Every instinct told him to hurry, but he knew that speed would only frighten the fawn further. He went to the shed and returned with a soft white cloth. Gently, speaking in low, steady tones, he approached the little animal. He laid the cloth over its eyes, blocking out the world, and felt the fawn's frantic shivering begin to ease. Then he worked. He worked one leg free, then another, supporting the fragile weight of the animal against his chest as he eased it through. And then the fawn was free. He held it for a long moment, running his hands carefully along its legs, its spine, its rib cage. No breaks. The wounds were raw but not deep. The fawn was frightened and exhausted and sore. But it would heal. It would be okay. As he held it close, the white cloth slipped from the fawn's face, and the little creature looked up at him. It didn't struggle. It didn't cry. It lay quietly in the arms of this stranger who had just freed it from the grip of cold iron. The old man set the fawn gently on the ground. For one suspended second, nothing moved. Then the fawn found its legs, wobbly, uncertain but real, and it ran. It ran toward its mother with everything it had, a small spotted blur of joy and relief, and the mother doe was already moving to meet it. Her whole body electric with something that had no name in any human language, but that every living creature understands. The old man stood in the fading afternoon light and watched them, mother and fawn, reunited. Then together, they turned, and with a graceful, bounding stride that seemed almost celebratory, they ran into the open field behind the house, lit gold by the setting sun. The old man watched until he couldn't see them anymore. The old man sat quietly and let the moment wash over him. He thought about what it had taken for a wild animal to overcome every instinct telling her to stay away from humans, to walk up to a stranger's door, to push and stomp and refuse to give up even when she was shoved away again and again, to trust that somewhere in the tall, bewildering world of humans there was one who would understand. She had been right. If she had turned back, if she had given up after the first push, the second, the third, her baby would still be trapped in that iron gate, alone and in pain in the growing dark. But she hadn't given up. She had knocked on a stranger's door and refused to stop knocking until someone listened. And sometimes that is all any of us can do for the ones we love.